So hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Innocent Baraka. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time in my channel, I'd recommend subscribing. I don't post videos that often, but when I do, I think you'll want, because I'll be posting similar content like this for mobile and Unreal Engine and other topics that have not really been covered by other Unreal Engine tutorial people. So with that, let's get started. So this video is going to be like a correction video about the past video that I made and the other video had some issues where the video will freeze and you couldn't see much. I didn't really notice this until I watched my video again, and then I realized what is happening. So hopefully I'm going to iron out those issues and try to make a very easy to learn touch interface tutorial. Okay, so let's get started. So when you're making a game that is targeted for mobile, I think what you need for your game is like a touch control. You can have several things like tilting and other stuff, but if you want to have a touch control, this is how you do it. So in Unreal Engine, there's gamepad controls and there's keyboard controls. So gamepad control is like this PS4 controller that is on screen right now, and usually these ones are called the thumbsticks, and if you take it up, for example this one, the left thumbstick, if you take it up, you'll be going forward. If you swing it to the side, to the right, you'll be going right. If you swing it to the left, and if you swing it down, you're going back. And the right thumbstick, if you swing it up, you're looking up. If you swing it down, you'll be looking down. If you're swinging it to the left, you'll be looking left. And if you're swinging it to the right, you'll be turning it to the right. And these are gamepad buttons and other stuff. So this is how touch interfaces for mobile, how it works. We are simply just emulating like a gamepad, something like that. We are emulating it and then we are overlaying it on the screen. So with this fundamental ideas set, we are going to get started. So the first thing, our movement controls is going to be like a thumbstick. So if you go forward, it goes forward like that. So let's hop into the project. As you can see here, I'm using a third-person template, nothing much. Let me just close this and show you the project. There it is, just the third-person template, nothing much. The only things that I've added for this project will be a widget that will have a jump button, and then some textures for our controls, and that's it. So we are going to get started. So for you to do that, you must make sure first of all your input are set correct. So we're going to make gamepad inputs. So lucky for us, we have gamepad inputs already set for us here, you can see. So for moving forward is gamepad left thumbstick, this one, and then also moving right, it's just gamepad left thumbstick but on the Y axis, you see. And then turning around is gamepad right thumbstick, and then looking up, we're going to set that one. Okay, now that we have those settings correct and it's working, we have to now emulate the same things on our touch interface. So the first thing we're going to do is set up controls for going forward, back, left and right. So we discussed the issue before. and if you want to go forward, you just swing the left thumbstick up, down, right, like that. So that's what we are going to be emulating here. I have the textures. You'll need 2 textures for thumbsticks. You'll need one, the thumb. The thumb is the one which moves, the flexible one, and then the background is just like the background which is stationary. For example, I will consider this purple part to be the background, or the black part inside to be the background, and then this gray part that moves to be the thumb. So that's what we are going to do, and we have those 2 textures. Now the first thing we do, we go into projects, input, and we have to create our own touch interface. So there are 2 ways you can do that. If you go to projects, input, and then under default touch interface, and you click here, you can create a new one, okay? Or you can also create a new one by just right clicking and going to miscellaneous, where is it, miscellaneous, and then go to touch interface setup. So any of those can work. So let's just create a new one and just call it touch tutorial. I'm going to call it the touch interface touch tutorial. Forgive my English. And then we're just going to open it up. So when you open it up, it's just empty like this, nothing comes with it, and you can see some certain options and sliders. The first one is active opacity. So this you get to dictate how opaque do you want it to be when the player has just touched that control. So if you want it to be fully opaque, you just set it to 1. And then inactive opacity is when the button is inactive, how opaque do you want it to be? So you will set it, like for example here it has been set to very transparent, but it's barely like visible. And then time until deactivate is the time it takes to transition from the active to inactive. Simple. So we're going to control to make our own controls for moving forward. So add a new element, and here on 0 we're going to create it. So you see the 2 options, image 1 and image 2, and it's self-explanatory. If you hover here, just hover, it writes to you for sticks, this is the thumb. So if you have a texture for your thumb, you can set it here. So there it is. Then image 2, you hover. For sticks, this is the background, so we need background. Virtual joystick background. Good. Now here is other values that we're going to be tweaking about, but we are not going to be that sure until we add it to the screen. So let's do that. For you to add a touch interface to our screen, you need to make sure that the default touch interface is not set to none. It has to be at least something. So you just come here under input, default touch interface, and then you can set any, let's say that one, okay? And then make sure you go here, always show touch interface, set it to false, don't set it to true. And yeah, that's all we need right now. And then if we play, nothing is going to happen, nothing is going to be shown. So we need to create it, we need to make it visible through the player controller. So my third person blueprint, I have set it to use my controller, this one. So I'm going to open it, and then I'm going to say on begin play, activate touch interface. So which touch interface do you want? I'm just going to say touch tutorial. So this is for adding a new one, okay? And then if I want to remove it, I can just copy the same node here and set it to none. So that way I'm removing it. So let me just bring it back to touch tutorial and then compile and save. So if I play, the touch interface is not showing. So that's where we now start tweaking. The reason why it's not showing is because everything here has been set to 0. The size is 0, it cannot be seen anything. So let me just key in some values. So for example, here at center, where do you want the center to be? I'm just going to say it 135, and then the y-axis is going to be like 135, and we can set the size to be around 192. So I know you're asking yourself, how am I coming up with such numbers? So it's not really like an exact thing, but the way I've found you can do this is just going to like a widget template, then you can just add an image here, just randomly here. Okay, and then you can just anchor it to that corner, and as you can see, if you anchor it to this corner, you can just see like position X, position Y. So that's what I usually use. So wherever the point you want it to be, just anchor it. So like I'll anchor it to this corner, and this value, you can see position X is 112, position Y is -365. So you can use this as a starting point. So these are like a starting point that I saw, and I will use. So center, where do you want this the whole thumbstick stuff to be centered at? So this is where it should be, 135, -135. What is the size? I want the size to be 192 along 192 units along X, 192 along Y. So let me just see. Is it really showing? Just a minute. Oh, and another thing, here under input, just say use mouse for touch. Okay, I think that should work. Yeah, so if you use mouse for touch, it will show. So yeah, this is our original asset. So as you can see here, it's very opaque, very translucent. You can see it. Let me just bump the inactive opacity to 1. Now you can see it. Okay, so this is the background, but you can't see the thumbstick. Why can't you see the thumbstick? It's because the thumb size is 0. It's very small. Let's give it a number, 96 by 96, and as you can see, there it is. Okay, then the reason why it can't move, you can't move it, is because the interaction size is set to 0. So the interaction size is the area that this button will respond to. For example, we can have it like to take the entire screen, whatever place you want, it will just respond to it. So let's say we can just put it even to 1000. The size should be even 1000 by 1000, and you will see almost the entire screen will be sensitive. Almost, you can see even here in the corner. But as you know, most of the time it's limited, so let me just limit it. So I'm just going to say it's 256 by 256. As you can see, yeah, it's okay. But the texture, to me, I feel it's too high. then the thumbstick is just way too high. Let me just lower it. Yeah, somewhere like that. So the values here, you can take your time and pause the screen and just copy it. So the center is at 135, negative 135. Visual size 192, thumb size 96, 96, interaction size 256, and that's it. And you can make it have a higher input scale if you want very sharp controls. Very sensitive, you can just even bump it up to even 10 or even 12 or even 2, but just 1 is okay. Okay, and then you can see it works. Okay, so here under main input key, let's set it to use the same ones for moving forward and moving right. So moving forward was gamepad left thumbstick y-axis. So let me just use it. Gamepad. Is it y-axis? Y-axis, yes. Then the alternative input key, we're just going to use move right, which is gamepad left thumbstick x-axis. Simple. As you can see, something just very opposite with it. I don't know why. Yeah, it's opposite, so let's just switch gamepad. So this one should use X instead of this one. Yeah, so I think it should work. Yeah, you can see it's working. So if you are using your mouse and you can't control your character, you can just go here under project settings, input, then here under mouse properties, just say use mouse for touch. So the screen will only respond to the mouse as if it's a touch screen. So this place, anything won't work. It will only, the mouse will only work on touch input and stuff, and buttons and other stuff. So you can see I'm controlling the character, and that is okay. Now we're going to have a new thumbstick that is going to control looking up and looking down. So let me just minimize this 0. We have finished with that, and just do this. So for the same one, the opposite one, I'm going to use the same textures, but I'm going to put their visibility to 0, because I don't want it to have like there's one thumbstick here and another thumbstick here. So I'm not going to use any textures on that side. I'm just going to do the same thing for 0, but for 1 I'm not going to have the textures and stuff. But feel free to make your touch interface the way you want. Virtual. And you can see that just make its size to be something very conspicuous that you can see. Let's say 300 by 300. So let me hop back, and you can see it's here. So let's move it to the right. So let me find the coordinates for that. And 377, 399. The coordinates for that will be negative 377, negative 399. Let me see. That's too high. Let me say negative 150, negative 150. Let me see. Oh, there it is. And then let me just make this to be a bit smaller. Oh, but it's also okay like that. The thumb size, what do you want the thumb size to be? Let's just say even 100 or even 200. 200 by 200. Okay. And then interaction size, let me just make it now to be a bit bigger, 500 by 500. Somehow it's automatically using the controls that I'm doing. I don't even know why it's doing that, but most of the time, 100% and 1% of the time, it never responds just that automatically. You have to set it up. So I'm going to use the controls again for looking up. So the controls for looking up was let me see, let's go to that third person blueprint and looking up. Look up. Always look up. Okay. Gamepad right thumbstick. So this one. So turn rate. Gamepad right thumbstick. Okay. And let's just test it. Okay, and then we'll do the other one, gamepad right thumbstick y axis. Okay, I think it should work. Simple. Okay, it's working. So those controls are done. You can see the values, pause it, and you can copy the values. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide these ones, image 1 and image 2, for the right side, because I don't want it to be visible. So I'm just going to do this and this. I just want it to be there but not visible. So you can only see this one, but here when you just touch it, it automatically works. Because the button is there, but the texture is not there, so it's like it's invisible. And even if you test it in this on the mobile, it works. So the final piece, when you have like you want a button, like let's say shooting, jumping, and other stuff like that, you need a widget for that. So here I just came to this widget and I just made a jump button. Nothing done really. So I'm going to go down and just say on pressed. I'm going to have 2 events, and then on released. Simple. On press and on released. So I'm going to hop back to my third person character, and I'm going to make a custom event which is going to say jump. Let me just say widget requested jump. Okay. And then let's hop back to our widget blueprint, and let's say when we have pressed jump button, we are going to cast to third person character, and as third person character you are going to jump. Is it? So let me just do this. All actors of class. Third person character. Let me just do this instead. It's much faster, but you can do it in a more efficient way in your project. Let me just move this to event construct. So when we've just created our widget, when our widget is just displayed like this, we will get who the player character is, and then let's just save it. Player character, and then we are going to use the same variable now, and let's say jump. If you don't know what I'm doing, I'm going to explain in just a minute. So here what we're doing is the widget does not have on begin play, it has on event construct. So it's just the same as on begin play. So when the widget has been constructed, we are going to find all actors that are called third person character, and for our example we just have only one, so we're going to get the first result and then we save that reference. So when the button is pressed, it's going to tell that referenced character to jump. So let's see. Okay, another thing we need to do, we need to add that widget to our screen. So let me just say create widget add to viewport, and you can see it's now here. Just a minute. You can see it's just here. When I press jump, it should jump. I don't know why it's not jumping. Why are you not jumping? Just a little. Oh, it's because when input action jump is not pressed, it automatically stops jumping. So let me just disconnect this. I think it should work now. Why is it not jumping? Just a minute. Sorry for your time. You can skip forward if you want. Yeah, that's why it's not jumping. It's not communicating to the player character for some reason. So this is what we are going to do. We are just going to create a custom event and save, which we are going to call save player character. That's what we are going to call this event, save player character. So ignore this. If you just want to have your widget working, you can do it your own way. Third person character. So okay, so what we are essentially doing here is every time the third person character creates a new widget, it tells the new widget that, hey, I am your owner, I am your master. So let's just say save player character. So we are saving it. So from here, our player character, I think it will have the reference to that. Let me see. If this one does not work, I'll just commit suicide. What is wrong? What is wrong with this thing? I don't know why it's wrong. Okay, now it's working. No, it's not working. So for some reason, Unreal Engine has just decided to ignore my jump. I don't know why it is ignoring my jump. Because, oh, that's why. Remember the way I told you that they had made the release button to automatically, the release event to automatically stop jumping, and then I disconnected it. Also, the touch input has the same thing, so let me just remove it. I think now it should work. It should. Yeah, it's working now. Thank God. So that was the problem, not me. That was the problem. So as you can see, my hands are not on the keyboard at all. So you can see I'm dragging it. I can look up, down, and when I press jump, it jumps. I can even make it do something else. Like, what else can I do? Okay, maybe that's for another time. I can't think of anything else. I was just making this to correct my other video. So I hope this video helps. If it doesn't, feel free to comment in the section, and subscribe to the channel. I am right now, I think I'm on 60 subscribers. To all those people who have subscribed to me, I'm very thankful. I've always wanted a sense of community and other stuff, and I know I've been really quiet for some time. It's because I'm working on a game right now, and let me just show you the demo. As you can see here, there's the touch interface. Of course, just a minute. Of course, the touch interface is very opaque. but in the game it's not going to be visible. So as you can see, it's like a zombie game and other stuff. Not really much, so that's why I've really been quiet, but I'll be getting back and posting some other stuff, and I hope you'll watch my videos. So have a good day. Thank you for watching.